We have to bring a bit of Thailand to San Diego. So good morning and sawadee-ka, Omri. Great to see you. And so you know in Asia how we like to change things up, right? I think. And so instead of ending the session with this game of cards, we're going to start with it, right? And watch how I shuffle. Would you like to cut the cards?
Sure.
Okay.
Do I get to bet?
Yeah. Then pick one, and then answer whatever question is on the card. Okay.
The one thing I've been waiting for in travel is, wow, can I give 20? To be personally, virtual reality.
All right.
To impact travel.
So you didn't have to come to San Diego all this.
I don't think it's happening for the record in the foreseeable future, but I wish I could put something on and be anywhere and feel immersed inside the experience, but not quite yet.
All right, okay. Thank you. All right, so Bangkok or Singapore?
Oh my God. Straight to pick between your kids. If you are a business person, probably Singapore. If you want to live, if you're living with a family, I would actually surprisingly pick Bangkok.
Right, where you are. Okay. China or India?
Cannot answer. Next question. You're going to get me into trouble.
Tokyo or Seoul?
That's an interesting one. I mean, both are amazing cities. I mean, Tokyo is one of the, I'm in love with Tokyo.
All right, so 20 years of Agoda, 10 years as CEO, wit or wisdom?
Both.
Good answer. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the reason why we're here. And you know, I just told Omri that this is really a game-changing moment in travel. That this is the first time in Phocuswright's 30-year history that we're opening up with a brand from Asia. So clearly, Asia is in the spotlight, and your CEO, Glenn Fogel, called out Asia in his latest earnings result, right? So we have a quote from him. And so my question to you is, pressure? Oh my God, now I'm gonna have to outperform, or pleasure? Finally, they get it. What's the feeling that you're getting?
A little bit of both, but more pleasure. More pleasure. I think. I mean, we all know that travel tends to grow on the long term. You know, there are always fluctuations. GDP plus some, and it's clear that on average, GDPs in Asia are growing very fast, or faster than anywhere else. Also, just the sheer amount of people there, more and more of them over time getting access to travel. So all of that needs to make everybody interested in Asia. I mean, on the flip side, it's very, very competitive. Everywhere travel is competitive, but I think Asia is, on steroids. And very diverse, very diverse. It's very hard to come up with scalable solutions and be successful in Asia. All of it makes it interesting, and I enjoy a challenge, and I enjoy the visibility, so pleasure.
Right, yeah, and that's why, you know, we are going to be talking about how to win and scale in Asia this morning. But before I get into that, I mean, let's address the elephant in the room that everybody's talking about, right? You know, 20 years ago, they predicted the demise of the travel agent, the GDS. At this moment, they're predicting the demise of OTAs with AI and all that, and I'm sure you don't agree, but what are you doing to ensure the longevity of your career in the OTA world? Make sure that you have a job.
I'm really nice to my boss for my career. I think AI is a huge opportunity. The way, you know, for many, many years, as OTAs, we relied on search engines to drive traffic. And I think that developing the type of tech that will enable us to be a search engine ourselves, to take the traffic all the way from the top, was doable, but a lot of heavy lifting that we weren't willing to engage with. That is gone. One, it's much cheaper and easier than it used to be. And two, we're definitely engaging with it. So I think it's a very interesting period of time for us where You'll see us going upward the funnel. You'll see us releasing, and you already see, releasing more and more features there. And I'm certain that 5-7 years from now, potentially even 2 or 3, the user experience will be very, very different. And I'm pretty certain that a lot of it will be led by OTAs.
So this is the opportunity for OTAs to become the new search, right? And Fritz Demopoulos.
Travel search.
Yeah, travel search. So Fritz Demopoulos, who was the co-founder of China, I mean, he always said that, search is only well run by founders who really care about the customer, because customers love search, but companies tend to screw it up. Would you agree with that?
I don't know. I think it's really, really important and it's not easy to separate hype from solving real consumer problems. I think what we've been doing very, very well, not only at Agoda, but also, of course, Booking.com, Booking Holdings in general, is we understand consumer problems and we solve them. We try to make sure that we're not doing things for the sake of hype or what looks good or what feels good. It's about really, almost quietly, find the big pain points to the consumers and really tackling them and then moving on to the next and to the next systematically. So I think that the way I interpret what Fritz was saying is, you need to ignore or resist the temptation to go for the hype and just solve consumer problems one after the other, let the machine run, and I feel very good about our machine.
Right, so if this is the golden opportunity for OTAs to really become the new search, right? And if you were to ask ChatGPT now, right, what are the real customer problems that you really need to solve, and not solve for the bottom line, but real consumer pain points? What would the answer be?
So I didn't ask ChatGPT that, but it's a good exercise. 1, B, I'm not sure that it hallucinates occasionally. So I'm not sure that I would buy the answer as is, but I think there are a few things. Obviously, there are top of the funnel problems that we hear about them, we see the demos, we run trip planning, but I actually personally think there are still a lot of problems sort of down funnel. Things like when you travel, the amount of effects you're paying. When you go cross-border, getting access to enough funds to afford your trip, things that go wrong during your trip, right? All of those types of things still exist. We are gradually solving them, giving you access to, even things like you want a connecting room. As an industry, we're talking about booking connecting rooms for I don't know how long, and still very, very, very hard. Very, very few properties that you can do that. I really personally believe that I'm not ignoring the top of the funnel problems and potential. We need to do that. But I really think that there are a lot of consumer issues somewhere around the payments area of the travel. Money in general, getting access, and just booking what you want to book.
Yeah, I mean, trip planning is kind of the sexy part that everybody likes to talk about, but the real anxiety is over saving money, how I can pay, and really what happens when I go wrong. So those are the 3 customer pain points.
And it's about trust. The trust is gained when you can help customer do that, and when you gain the customer trust, then that's your customer for life. And I think this is what we understand very well as OTA. It's about creating this trust relationship with the consumer. It's very easy to break them. I mean, it's one bad interaction and you lose that customer, but maintaining those is super important, and that's what we are after, I think.
Okay, so let's talk about AI specific to Asia, right? And Asia kind of leapfrogged when it came to mobile, when it came to social. Do you think it will also leapfrog in terms of AI? Because I think OpenAI did a study to say consumers in Asia were actually picking up the technology really quickly. Do you think we'll leapfrog in AI as well?
So it's hard to say because there's a lot of investment obviously everywhere in AI, and a lot of knowledge, a lot of the innovation comes obviously from the United States. I think what's interesting, the Asian consumer is maybe faster to pick up new things. Especially, a lot of it is because there are so many new consumers, so many young people entering the value chain, getting access to the funds that allow them to book. And usually this level or this line of people are more susceptible to change and are willing to accept change and are trying new things. So I think that's one of the drivers of that. Like we said before, Asia is more complex, so it's very, very hard to give one solution that fits everyone. You need different solutions. I mean, if you go on a travel app from Japan origin, or China, or even Indonesia, or Thailand, or India, you'll see people don't understand, but it's a much different experience across many, many factors. Very, very different than what you'll find in a typical American OTA or European OTA. That's part of the difficulty. And usually that goes against those types of innovations because it's hard to scale. I guess I'll say, I believe in the Asian customer to be the earliest adopter of some of the new features, but it's very hard for me to say that Asia is going to leapfrog. I think it's one of those things that will happen everywhere all at once.
Right.
Like a movie.
So now let's talk about the industry. I think Agoda, you did a study, talking about AI adoption amongst the industries, right? And you say that the adoption is nearly universal. 95% of developers across Southeast Asia and India using it. So clearly, it is a big step for operations, back of office change.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. This is where. I think even when it started, we kind of separated in our minds between two types of places where Gen AI is applicable. One is really the back office operations. There it was a no-brainer. I think we all very, very early on knew what we needed to do. How to do it is not always easy, especially in big systems. And also you need to have the guts to do certain things, right? To put AI in front of consumers that are used to talking to a person. And to allow yourself to measure that, even though we talked about trust, even though you know that those consumers you may hurt their trust if the user experience is not great. But I think great tech companies and great entrepreneurial companies have the guts to make those changes, obviously with carefully, but make these bets. So I think that was an obvious, and this is an area that is booming and has a lot of contribution. The other piece is obviously the consumer-facing piece, especially in travel. But across everywhere, I mean, you can see changes starting to happen in e-commerce and other online industries. That is more tricky because changing consumer behavior is one of the, when you run an online brand, you understand that changing consumer behavior is the most difficult thing to do. You gotta offer them a lot more. It's not a little bit more value, a lot more value, and then maybe they'll change, and even then it will take time. So there we are more careful, and we don't know exactly where it goes. But what we do is we experiment across the board, and I'm sure it will come just a little bit slower.
Yeah, and you've always said that you can only put a product out if it's like you feel like it's 80% there before And what's the coolest product that you're working on right now in Agoda that you can speak about?
So you always ask me to pick between my kids. It's not my wife would not agree with that type of questions. So first of all, I'm not sure. It depends on the product, I want to say. You don't want to put something embarrassing in front of consumers because then you won't get much. You want to put, but on the other hand, if you wait until it's a classic entrepreneur one-on-one, you don't want to wait until 100% because then somebody else put it in the market. So you want to put something good enough that won't be embarrassing, but you learn. Really, what you want is to learn. What are the coolest things that we're doing now in Agoda? I mean, on the trip planning side, I think we are playing with a lot of user experiences, and we're playing with them in different. We don't necessarily expose them everywhere, and also our problem is hard because, like I said, we have a very diverse consumer base. I cannot use the same thing that I'm using with Japanese, with Indonesians, and et cetera. So it makes it a little bit harder. I think what's cool is that, for me at least, it's clear that the problem is not only a Gen AI problem. It's not a chat problem per se. It's a UX and chat problem. If you're trying to solve it only in chat, I don't think you're going to be successful. If you're trying to solve it only with UX, also I don't think you're going to be successful. So there's something in between, and nobody knows what's that in between. And I think it's pretty cool the amount of and people don't know, but the way we work, we run thousands of experiments, and we expose things to consumers and get feedback. So we're on a daily basis exposing user experiences and trying things and expanding the things that we see that we like. Some of them are pretty cool about the types of solutions that we're developing there.
Right. Well, we look forward to more such solutions. Okay. So you spoke at the Get Your Guide Summit in Bangkok, and I was there. And one of the things that you said to me was really important about how you win in Asia. And it's like holding the line is as important as pivoting. You pick a strategy, breathe, and stay the course even when it's hard. So,
correct.
That's a really good piece of advice. So, we're going to run out of time. Now, I'm going to ask you about banks because I know that you love fintech, right? And in the US, banks have already become like travel companies. You have predicted that in 10 years, OTA will be like banks. Is that where you're going?
So I think first of all, I'm a fintech geek. I just love fintech. I think, again, talk about an area that there's room for so much innovation and so much overlap with the travel industry, and so many consumer pains, by the way. So everything payments, everything effects. I mean, come on, when you travel to I mean, the anxiety of overpaying when you travel to a new country is, I think, is shared among all humankind. I think, well, first of all, in the US, you see, the US, as an example, has a big loyalty ecosystem.
Right.
And that drives the fact that a lot of travel is happening across or adjacent to those loyalty schemes. So a lot of it will happen on financial institutions. And
so but basically, you want me to give you money up front so that you can manage my money
so I
manage
guess
my travel
I see,
plans.
this is how I see it longer term, a pound to the chest. I think, look, people don't realize that OTAs, first of all, we have a role to help banks that are accessing debt and accessing travel because they have those loyalty schemes. And we're already doing it, and I think it's only going to grow. Not only in the US, I think it's going to grow worldwide. So that's the one side of it. The other side of it, people don't understand that two things, I guess, about travel companies, OTAs. One is we are big fintechs inside. I mean, think about how much money is moving and where our FX regimes and capabilities are. Payments capabilities are. I mean, we optimize our payment networks, most of us, to the cent. We just usually don't expose it externally. We use it to our own benefit. But over time, I think we are exposing it more and more and more. The second thing is that I guess we are the best, one of the best lead gens for fintech.
Yep.
Because when travel is one of the biggest expenses for consumers every year, and when they are about to make that expense, usually we see them, we meet them. And around a big expense, such big expense, then you find traditionally the loans, the savings, the anxiety around effects, and on and on and on and on. And
so I have to get you. I have to get a final question in.
Go.
Would you run Agoda differently if you weren't part of booking? Okay, and you have 1 minute to answer that.
I think I have lovely management, very, very smart. And I think they're doing a great work.
But there would be things that you would do if you were not.
If I was in a public company, if I was an entrepreneur running by myself, many things will happen different. But all things considered, and I told you that as well. She asked me that also before to make sure that I'll give the same answer.
You should have heard the answer then.
The same answer. But my answer is that I'm lucky. I'm really lucky, especially in Asia, that we're getting not only the support to grow and invest, because I think we understand this is an area you need to invest to grow very competitive, but also to stay entrepreneurish and an engineering leader. I mean, look at me, look at my background. Just the sheer fact that I'm sitting as the CEO of Agoda tells you the story, I think, of the management willingness to invest.
Okay, final question. What advice would you like to give the next Glenn Fogel? Quick answer.
Figure out what he's doing to stay so young and do it.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking Omri. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.